Welcome from the break. The next category of functions that we are going to look at are logical functions. The specific ones we shall learn in this session are the if, count if, and sum if logical functions. Let us look at the use of each of these functions. The if function. The if function checks whether a condition is met and returns one value if true and another value if false. If function checks whether a condition is met and returns one value if true and another value if false. What this means is that with the if function, we set a condition or a criteria such that if the criteria is met, then one result is given. But if the criteria or condition is not met, then another result will be given. Let's say, for instance, we are to check that students who do the office suite course are only level 100 IT students. So if, let's say, we enter a function that will determine that only level 100 IT students do the office suite course, if a particular set of students meet the criteria that they must be level 100 students and they must be IT students, if they meet the criteria, then a result like yes, can do the course probably will be assigned to that student's field. But if it's not level 100 and doesn't belong to the IT class, then a result like not, let's say, qualified may be given. So we can say qualified for those who meet the criteria of being level 100 and IT students, and not qualified for those who do not belong to that class. I hope you follow. Let us come to the count if. The count if is used to tally some values based on a specific condition. This function is used to tally some values based on a specific condition. Here, a condition will be given. If the values assigned meet those conditions, then those values will be counted. And those values that do not meet the condition will not be tallied or counted. Similarly, the sum function is used to find the total of some values based on a specified condition. So the same thing applies here. We set a condition. The values that meet the condition will be summed up, and those that do not meet the condition will be left out of the summation. In using logical functions, we will have to employ the comparison operators. But before we come to that, let us look at the syntax or format for the if function. Once it is a formula, it always begins with an equal sign. Then you bring if, which is the function name. Then this is how we state the argument. You state the condition, and then you define the value to be assigned if the condition is met, and you state the value to be assigned if the condition that is not met. So if the condition is met, the value if true will display, and if the condition is not met, the value if false will be returned. As I said, we need the comparison operators in logical functions. You know that the comparison operators are the greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, and not equal to. Please critically look at how we state these in computing. Greater than or equal to, this is how we state it in the computer, whether in programming or in database or in spreadsheet. This is how we state it. Less than or equal to, this is how we state it. Equal to, we use the normal symbol. Not equal to, we use the less than, we bring the less than followed by the greater than. This is how we state the not equal to in computing. Let us have an example of the if function. So we've already given the syntax. Now when you look here, if, and this is the condition. Here the criteria uses a value and then returns one value or the other value. So this is the condition. If C2 is greater than or equal to 60, then return 5. But if it's not greater than or equal to 60, then return 0.5. Are you getting me, please? So the value in C2, if it meets this, then it will return this value. If the criteria is not met, then this will be returned. We can also set the condition with text. And whenever we are using text in formulas or functions, we call those texts as a string. S-T-R-I-N-G, string. So here we are setting the condition to the text, and the return values are also text. Now in using strings or text, you must always put that text in double quotes. Okay? It must always be in double quote. Whenever you are using text in a function or formula, the text must be placed in double quotes. So here, if the value in E2 is Ghanaian, then return yes. But if the value in there is not Ghanaian, then return no. So for instance, if you are looking for people who can be presidents in Ghana, you have a number of people staying here in Ghana. So if you want to determine who can be president and who cannot be president, So if your nationality is Ghanaian, then yes, you can become a president. But if you are not a Ghanaian, then you cannot become a president. So the value that will return is what? Is no. If the value in E2 is, let's say, Nigerian, okay, the return value will be what? No. We can also define the condition with a value and return string as the result. So here, if the value in G5 is greater than or equal to 50, then return the value pass. But if it doesn't meet this condition, then we should return what? Fail. We can also set a condition with text and return values as well. So when you look here, if the value in F2 is senior staff, then return what? 0.5. Else return 0.2. Alright. Let us have a practice of this. Okay, so we have a list of people here and their nationality. So we want to determine whether they can vote or they cannot vote based on the nationality assigned here. So we have to use the if function. How do we state it? We type equals if bracket open the value in here, and the value is in what? B3 is equal to, here we have to define Ghanaian. Okay, so once we are stating a string, we said a string must appear in double quotes. So I have brought the quote is Ghanaian. So this is our condition, comma, what should happen? What value should it return? Then should state the return value is also string, so I have to bring a double quote, can space vote. Then you bring the ending quote, comma, else it should return cannot vote. Okay, then you close the bracket. Look at it very well. If this is the condition, the value in B3 is Ghanaian, then the return value should be can vote. Else, when you say else, it means that if the value in there is not a Ghanaian, then it should return cannot vote. Then when you are done, you press the enter key. So you have here can vote, because the value in here says what? Ghanaian. Let us copy this formula as you've learned already. Okay, so there you have it. Can vote, cannot vote, cannot vote. I hope you get it. Similarly, we are going to set our condition to a value. So let's assume that if a student score is, let's say, 260, then the return value should be the passed. But if it is below 260, then the return value should be filled. Okay, so let's say these are our student scores and these are their summations. So again, how do we state it? We bring our equal sign, okay, and then we type if, then we bring our brackets open. So what is the condition? The value in here, if the value in here is greater than, you type the greater than symbol, or equal to 260, then you leave some space. What should be the return value? The return values are strings, so you put them in double quotes. Pass, else, double quotes, fail, close. I hope you are following. And then you close the bracket, then you press the enter key. So here, because the value is greater than 260, the person has passed. Let us copy this down. You have these students passing and these students failing based on the values they obtained. I hope you get it. Alright, let's move on. Alright, now we are going to return values. So let us do, let's say these are the products, and commissions will be given based on the sales that was done. So you have your quantity received, quantity remaining, so you have quantity sold here. So definitely quantity remaining will be, oh, I think we have a wrong placement. This one should be, let me put this one here, cut and paste here. So quantity sold will be equals to quantity received minus quantity remaining. Okay, and then let's copy this. So these are the quantities sold, and the sales will be the quantity sold multiplied by the per unit price here, so equals this multiplied by that, then enter. Okay, let us copy this. Alright, so we have output here. So if let's say the commission, let's say it is 0.3 for those who get, if the sale on a product is let's say 7,000 and above, then it should be 0.3. But if it is below 7,000, then it should be 0. Let's say 1 as the commission. Okay, so let us state that here. How will you go about it? Try your hands on it and let's see. Please, sir, I hope before you do this, you have to pause the video and type this information. Okay, you should type this information. Sorry, I should have told you the same thing here, because you have to practice along. You should type this Then practice this one, type these, do the totals, and then practice this one as well. Okay, the same thing applies here. Type the information here and then pause the video and type. Then when you are done, compute the commission for each product based on these return values. The condition is if the results is 7,000 and above, if the sales is 7,000 and above, then the commission assigned should be 0.3. If not, the commission assigned should be 0.1. But because of time, we move on. So we type equals if, then you bring your brackets open. If what? If the value in F26, we say if it's 7,000 and above, so if it is greater than or equal to 7,000, then what should happen? It should return, because it's a value, we will not put it in double quote. Okay, so you should return 0.3. If not, you should return 0.1. Else, okay, it should return what? 0.1. Alright, let's close the bracket. So the commission rate for this one is this 0.1 because it doesn't meet the criteria of 7,000. So let's copy this formula here. Okay, so it's only this that meets the criteria. So let's take this one as the commission rate. Then you can multiply this by this and then you determine the commission. I think you know how to do it. Okay, if you have forgotten, let me remind you. So you type equals this multiplied by the commission rate that, then you press the enter key. Okay, so these are the commission. The commission, let me type commission here. Okay, so that's how we use the if function to return values as the output. Alright, we are done with how we can return one value, and if the condition is not met, how to return another value. We have another set of function, of if function. We call it as nested if. What some of my friends will call as if within if. Okay, if within if. That is, you have a series of if conditions. So if, let's say, if the first if condition, we will set the condition here. For instance, as you can see here, this is the format. So if this is the condition, if the condition set here is met, then it should return this value. Okay, but if it is not met, then the else part will be another if. But here we don't bring the equal sign. We just type if followed by the condition. This one should be condition. Okay, sorry. Yeah, let me type condition here. Okay, so if this condition is met, then if this condition is met, then it will return this value. The else part is another if. Okay, but this if also has its own condition. So here, this condition will no more be operational. The operational condition will be this if. If this condition is met, then this value will be returned. But if this condition is not met, then the else part will be the value that is placed here. Notice that we did not place this one's closing bracket here. I hope you are getting me. There is no closing bracket here. It's just comma and then the next if follows till you reach the last part. Then you will count the number of brackets, open brackets that you have here. Then you place its equivalent closing bracket at the end. I hope you get me, please. The syntax for the nested if, that is an if within another if, is given to us here. I hope you get it. Let us have some examples. Here equals if A1, the value in there is 10 times 12, then the results or the return value should be 120. If the value in A1 is not 10 by 12, then it should jump to this if structure. Okay, this next if, which is what? The condition is if the value in A1 is 8 by 8, then it should return 64. Let me take out this part. It should return 64. Else, it should return what? 36. So, this if here is the else part of this condition. I hope you get it. But this if begins a new set of conditions on its own. Let us have another example. Here, you say that if the value in E2 is greater than or equal to 80, then return excellent as the output. But if it is not 80, then the else part will be this next if. And the condition for this next if is that if the value in E2 is greater than or equal to 70, then return what? Very good. I hope you get me, please. But if the value in E2 is not up to 70, then it means this condition is not met. So the else part is also another if condition. Okay? And the condition here is if E2 is greater than or equal to 50, then it should return good. But if it doesn't meet, if the value in E2 doesn't meet this last condition, then the else value that should be returned is what? Pass. Again, we count the opening brackets for each of the ifs. We count them and we place the equivalent closing brackets at the end of the entire structure. Alright, let us look at another one. If the value in C6 is less than 70, then it should return the value of what? F. But if it is not less than 70, then it means that it should jump to the next if and look at the condition there. And the condition is what? If the value in C6 is less than 75, then it should return what? D. I hope you understand. But if it is not less than 75, then it should not return D. It should jump to the next if structure. And its condition says that if the value in C6 is less than 85, then it should return C as the output. Else, if not, you should go to the next if structure. And the condition is if it is the value in C6 is less than 95, then it should return B. Else, it should return what? A. Okay, then you count the opening brackets for each of the ifs, and then you put the closing brackets, the equivalent of them at the end. Okay, let us practicalize this. So let's say we want to determine let's put the criteria here. If the person gets, let's say, 80 to 100, then the output should be excellent. Sorry, the output should be A as the grade, A1 as a grade. Okay. If it is between 75 to 79, then the output should be B2. Okay, B2. If the output or the total mark, sorry, if I say the total mark, I'm looking at these ones. So if the total here is equal to, is between let's say 70 to 74, then it should return B3. Okay, but if it is between 60 to 69, then it should return C4. Okay, if it is 50 to 59, then it should return C5. And if it is 45 to 50, then it should return C6. I'm not saying that is what they use in WASIO. I've forgotten the actual marks, but I'm just creating something for us to use. If the score, okay, let me use ABCD so that we don't find ourselves in trouble. So let's say A, B, let us clear this. So A, B plus, let's put B plus here. So I will be saying B, C plus, okay, C, then let's say D here, and then anybody who gets below 75 should get, below 45 should get, let's say, F. Okay, how do we use the if structure here? We are going to use nested if. But in this situation, you see that we have two values here. We have the lower boundary, which is the lowest value in this range, and then the highest value in this range. So we only use the lower values. We don't use the upper values. I hope you understand. So let's get on with it. Please type this, pause the video, type the information here. Type the information here, and then when you are done, we continue. But for want of time, let us move on. So we type here. I hope you have paused and then you are continuing after the you've entered it into Excel. So we have here equals if. What is the first? We are going to look for the value in here, right? So we have to bring the opening bracket. Open bracket, the value is in what? This. So we click this cell here, which is what? D36. So if the value in D36 is greater than or equal to the lower boundary, we are using the lower boundary throughout, never use the upper boundary, is greater than or equal to 80, the return value should be what? The return value should be A. And you know that A is a letter. It's not a number. So once it is a letter, then it's a string. So we need to put it in double quotes. We type A here, then we bring the ending quote. If the value in here is not, then what should happen? The else part is another if. So we type space if, then we bring the open bracket. If the value in D36 is greater than or equal to the lower value here is what? 75. If it is 75, what should it return? It should return B plus. But if it is not greater than 75, then what should happen? Then the next if comes. So we put comma space another if, we bring the open bracket. If the value in D36 is not up to 75, but if it is Between 70 and 74, we say we bring the lower value. So if it is greater than or equal to, the lowest value is what? 70. So we type 70, comma, what should be the output? The output should be into double quotes B. Okay, but if it is not 70, then what again? We also have another if as the else part. So we type comma, another if the value in D36 is greater than or equal to 60, that is between 60 and 69, that is will be the range. If it is greater than or equal to 60, the returned value should be C plus. Okay, then we close the quote. But if it is not greater than or equal to 60, then we have another if. So we leave space and then we type if, then we bring the opening bracket. So if the value in E36 is greater than or equal to 50, comma, the return value should be C. Okay, then here, if it is not up to 50, then we have another, this one should be 49, sorry, not 50. If it's not up to, then we have another condition here. We bring the equal to, then leave space, we type another if the value in here is greater than or equal to, the lower value here is what? 45. So 45, comma, then it should return D. But if none of these is met, then the last output is what? Condition is for 45, and after 45 there is no other output here, so we don't need to bring another if. The else part will just be the F. So if any of these conditions are not met, then it should return what? F. It should return F. Okay, then we have to count the number of opening brackets that we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we have to type 6 closing brackets. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We count the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then when you are done, you press the enter key. Okay, so what do you notice here? The value here is 75, and the condition is that, so what will happen is, it will first of all evaluate this. Is the value here up to 80? No, the value here is not up to the 80. Okay, then let me jump to the next condition. And the condition is what? If the value here is from 75 and above, but because this 80 is set as the lower boundary of the first one, then it will check up to 79 and then give this value. But if this one is not met, then it will jump to this. Then if it is not met, it will jump to that till the last one is attained. So let me change this one. So okay, we have a lower value here. Please look at the constructed function well. This is called nested if. That is ifs within an if. Okay, look at it very well how it is entered. All right, let us copy this function. So here we have it. Per the conditions that we set using the nested if. Some got B, some got A, some got F, because this one is below what? 45. Okay. All right. We are to put remarks here. Okay, so if the person gets between 80 and 100, we want the remark to be excellent, very good, good, above average, average, then pass, and then we have fail here. So these are the remarks we want. So we will follow a similar procedure. We can either use these ones here, or we can use these. For instance, let me use this return value here. Okay. So we are saying that if the return value here is A, then it should return what? Excellent. B plus return very good. I hope you get me, please. So let me enter. We'll bring, I hope you are following, equals if. No, I want you to try your hands on it first. Okay, so I'm giving you some few minutes. Try your hands, or pause the video. Try your hands on it. The remarks, you've gotten this output. These grades were obtained by the students, but the remark for each of the grade is given to us here. So use the if structure to construct a function that will give out an output based on the grade that was obtained over here. Okay, and the remarks are given to us here. So try your hands on it and let's see. Pause the video and do it. Okay, for want of time, let's continue. But I know you have paused, you've tried your hands, and then follow what I'm doing to see whether what you did was right, or you have to update your knowledge on it. So you say if the person gets A, it's excellent. So we bring our equal sign. We type if here, open bracket. If the output in here equals, here we are using, how do you call it, characters. So we don't need greater than or equal to. The characters have been specified for us here. The letters have been specified for us here. So if it is A equals to A, but we have to put it in double quotes. If it is A, then the output should be, we are going to return another string. So into double quotes, excellent. excellent. But if it is not A, what should happen? Then the else part is going to be another if. So we leave some space and type if, open bracket, the value in here equals double quotes B plus close. The output should be, it is a string, so we put it in double quote, very good, close. Then you type comma, then you bring the next if you bring the opening, then you type the cell. If the value in that cell is equal to B, then the return value should be, yes, it is text, so you put it in quote, always remember that, good, okay. Else if the value in E36 is C plus then the output should be above average, then you close the double. Please notice how I enter the text. You look at the above space average before I end the quote. I bring the ending quote. I don't type above then put it in quote and then average also in quote. No, that is not right. Okay, if the value, if this one is not the right one, so if the else part is if E36, the value in E36 is equal to, the next one is C, then the return value should be average. Okay, close. But if it is not C, then you have to bring another if as the else part. So if E36, that is the value in E36 is equal to D, then it should return pass. But if any of these conditions are not met, then it should return what? F. Okay. Then I'll count the opening brackets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'll close it with the same number of closing brackets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then when we are done, you press the enter key. So over here we get what? Very good. Because the output in here is what? B plus. Okay. Look at the function construction in this formula bar. That's how we did it. You can also pause the video. Okay. let's copy this function. I'm dragging it down. Sorry. Instead of fill, I put F there. So let me correct it. It should be fill. So this is how we edit in formulas. You can click there and then type the information, delete whatever you don't want there, and then correct it. So let me type fill here. Then let me copy again. Yeah, now it is complete. So you see those who have filled and those who did average. Is there an excellent here? Yeah, we have one excellent here. Okay. Well done. For positions, you know how to do it. In our first part of this session, we said equals, we use for position, we use the total mark, we don't use the grade. Okay, so we type equals rank bracket to pin, then this value, comma, then you have to state the ref. The ref is this entire values here, comma, and then we type 0, which is we want it in descending order. Then we close, then we press enter. But we have to come back here before we copy this function. You have to come back here and make the ref, both parts of the ref range as absolute cell references, so that when we copy, the ref will be constant. So we are putting the dollar in front of the column heading and then the row heading on each part. Then when you are done, you press the enter key. Okay, now let's copy this down here. There we have it. We have the position of each student. Alright, I think we are tired and we need another break. We spent almost an hour, so we'll take another break and then we will take the last part of this session.